watched it virtually, but never got the chance to come in person. And I actually took the chance and applied to speak here. And I was invited to be part of the panel discussion today. So it was really amazing to actually come here to experience all of this.
I think GitHub Universe does have this very casual feel to it, and presenting on the main stage, there's definitely this I'm just talking to developers about this cool thing that I get to work on every day. It's a very different conference feeling than a lot of other places I've presented.
It's a super welcoming conference and really has a community feel to it, which is amazing.
I'm very grateful for having the opportunity to actually speak here at GitHub Universe. So having went through the keynotes, it was an exciting keynote. And I also delivered my session, so I'm looking forward to exploring what the new sessions are going to deliver and what things I can learn.
As a speakers, we are really impressed by the coaching, the content. Whole organization.
I've spoken at many conferences at this point, and most of them are more corporate-driven and quite a bit larger and quite a bit just louder, frankly. But here, I've made friends with many people. Everyone feels approachable, and I feel approachable too, and I've really enjoyed that experience so far.
Hello, everyone. Hello. I'm Andrea Griffiths at Ala Colombia Dev in all places, and this is Startup Wednesday. How's everyone? I hope you are having a great week. We are so excited to be back. Today, in this Startup Wednesday, we're going to be diving into the world of GitHub for Startups, a program that offers access to GitHub Enterprise to startups. And in case you're new here or you're just coming through and you're wondering, well, what is GitHub for Startups? GitHub for Startups is this program that gives you access to the world's most used platform powered by AI. You might be wondering, well, why does GitHub have this program for startups? And we got to remember that companies, huge companies, GitHub included, like Airbnb, Spotify, Stripe, they all started as small startups. Right? We have to start somewhere. And so it's great for us to have the experience to be able to support these entrepreneurs. These great companies now, they are still using GitHub to manage their code and to collaborate more effectively as they continue to grow into incredible, huge tech giants. All those companies that I've mentioned before, even GitHub, the startup, long ago, they all serve as super inspiring examples of truly what's possible when you harness the power of GitHub's features, best practices, and that's why we're here today. Throughout the streams, we're going to explore how GitHub for Startups can support you with resources, encourage collaboration within your companies, encourage adoption of efficient workflows, foster a sense of community amongst all of you founders. You don't have to do this alone. And the best part, we're here not to hear from me, but we're here to hear from some really exciting new companies who are part of the GitHub for Startups program. And they will share their experiences, not only within the program, but also insights on how they're building what they're building and how they're using GitHub to fuel their growth. So whether you're just looking to better utilize GitHub, you have an idea for a business, you're looking to streamline your development processes, you're in the right place. We're here to learn together, and this is Startup Wednesday. And my guest today, which I am super excited to bring on. I just had a quick conversation behind the scenes with them, and I think we're aligned in a lot of things. So that's really cool. Every time I get to meet someone that is, we're kind of built the same in ways. But anyways, our guest today for this Startup Wednesday is the founder of a company called EasyGen. We live in an area, in a world where content generation is so important. And so it's fantastic that now with the support of tools like artificial intelligence, we can actually generate a lot of content and everything's become so like accessible, right? This is kind of dear and near to me because I don't know if you notice the accent, but obviously English is not my first language. So a lot of times it's tough to focus so much on content creation, especially when you're managing 3 different languages for work. So it's great that there are tools like this. So our guest today is Ruben Hafid. Ruben is the founder of EasyGen.io. He's here to show us how his Chrome extension is basically revolutionizing content creation. He's reached over 120 million views. I have to say that again, 120 million views on LinkedIn. And if you're wondering how long it took him to get to this incredible milestone, it was less than 2 years. Ruben is known for the headline, Master AI Before It Masters You. Fantastic. He's an international keynote speaker. He's a content creator, and he's 27 years old, French, and lives in Tel Aviv. Ruben, welcome. Welcome to GitHub Startup Wednesday. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much, Andrea. I'm not an English speaker neither. I am actually French, as you said. So content creation in English is a big deal for us. Thank you so much for the introduction. So excited to be part of this GitHub on Wednesday. It's coming back. So happy
It's back. Thank you. We've been on ice for a bit, but we wanted to come back. And there are so many incredible companies like yours who are part of the program now. So it's honestly my humble honor to be here and be able to feature you and give you a space to tell us a little bit about your story, which is really exciting one. I'm gonna love every bit of it. For the folks who are just joining now, welcome to Startup Wednesday. This is a stream for startups who are part of the GitHub for Startups program, a program that enables you with the best tool in the world, GitHub Enterprise, to grow and scale your businesses. And we're here meeting EasyGen.io. Ruben, I didn't know you were in Tel Aviv until I read your bio. So what time is it for you? It is very late.
It's 10 p.m. right now.
Wow. Again,
it's 10
thank
p.m.
you so
all
much.
Good, all good. I have an international team. I know this is something that sometimes happens. It's all good.
Wonderful. Thank you so much again for being here. So I'm joining you today, and I know my background might look a bit different for folks. We're down in Uruguay with this initiative called Git Commit. And interestingly enough, actually, we talked a little bit about language barriers to entry in tech, and a lot of those conversations happen here because I'm in a Spanish-speaking country at the moment. But let's dig into your story, because that's what we're here for today. So Ruben, first of all, there are so many startups, and I feel like since the AI boom, everyone, it became more accessible, obviously, to start building. Like now, that's the power of artificial intelligence. It's like put in, even for folks that, it's incredible. The things that you can hack even for folks that maybe they just have the remote idea, but not sure in execution. Even hashing out that plan, you can do it with AI now, which is incredible. It's definitely made an impact in my life. I know it's made an impact of yours, but I wonder, like, what inspired you to start an AI company? And specifically for LinkedIn, like, where did that come from?
Why AI? Like, why did I even start it? Actually, the reason why I started being interested in AI is quite funny. I was playing around with Midjourney, but the first version, I don't know if you've seen the first version of Midjourney. Midjourney, the image generator.
Right.
The first version was just memes on Reddit. It was just, it was weird images that didn't really make sense, but it was fun for people that somehow those images were made by another thing, which was AI. And that's probably like my first encounter of like what generative AI was. That thing that could generate tokens, which was like pixels, And while doing this, I was a ghostwriter already for a financial analyst called Nicolas Chéron. I was writing for him. I've been doing social media for 10 years. The only thing is I was doing it for other people for 10 years. and while I was a ghostwriter for Nicolas, I was living in Berlin. We're talking about November 2022, and keep that date because that's the date ChatGPT, the beta was open the 30th of November 2022, and at that playing with Midjourney. But I had a colleague. It was not even a colleague. It was a coworker who was living in the same co-working space than me. He was working in the same one, Motion Lab in Berlin. And Ali was trying to write his thesis. Remember, I'm 25 at that time, so we're both 25. His thesis, and he can't write it, and he hates it, and he wants to start a new thing, his own company, but he cannot without finishing his thesis. So at that time, I was trying to do it through Jasper, and Jasper was not good enough. And then there was this new thing, ChatGPT, and I was like, hey, there was this like new chat, and somehow I kind of made the abstract for you, and it was like about computer electric engineering. I didn't understand anything he was doing. I was like,
wow.
I didn't understand anything, but I was like, wait, I made this abstract. How good is it? And he was like, how did you do that? And I was like, yeah, I used that thing called ChatGPT, just got out today. It's the beta. And then for like 2 weeks straight, we kept trying and trying. Eventually we wrote the entire thesis. And then I was back to Paris. I was quite sad because I was like, hey, I have nothing to play with anymore with that new chat. So I did what a mad scientist would have probably done. I just read the entire documentation of OpenAI, like the entire documentation. I'm not a technical guy. I'm someone who's very much in love with content and how to communicate what you value the most to more people. I just like that process. So I learned everything about the documentation and everything that I could understand and that I could try, kind of like a mad scientist. I made like a PDF of that, kind of like my learnings about it, And
okay.
On LinkedIn in December 2022, and I reached almost 2 million people in that post. And I was like, whoa, okay, that was like a lot. I was not expecting that. And from that day, more and more people kept asking me questions, and I just kept answering with content that I would share for free on LinkedIn and then on other platforms. And that's how I grew up to eventually falling in love with the process of like keep learning, keep trying, and whenever I discover something, I could share it. But my problem is that I had a frustration with content creation and LinkedIn, which was my primary ways of communicating, because I couldn't find a good tool. Because it turns out it's pretty hard to make a good tool about exactly that.
To create the content itself, or just for like resources? Okay, like your guide. You couldn't find like the thing. Gotcha.
Research, you have design and you have writing. So for the design, I'm cracking the code right now, but it's not live yet. It's taking even longer. About research, you have fantastic tools like Perplexity. You have other set of tools that helps you ideate faster. I still use other LLMs to do it as well if the topic is not too close to news. But my biggest question was, can I, because you're not a native speaker, me neither, can I write something on a Google Doc like, today I did a podcast with Ruben and this is what happened and this is what we talked about and this is how I felt. It's like you're brain dumping your information. Like, this is roughly what I want to say and how I want and the items that I actually want to share, but can it be formatted in a great way with a hook, with the right design, right format in terms of the caption. So this is what I built. At first I built it for me. I built it for me in February 2023. Took me like 6 months to make it better and better and better. And eventually I started hiring people and I wanted them to use it. But the problem is it was too hard for them to use it. It was too hard. The generation was good, but it was hard. So then I said, I'll make it easy so that you can easily generate content. That's why I made it easy gen. And then eventually, because I made it possible, I was like, hey, maybe my community also wants to use it. So this is why it's weird, but it's a tool that is primarily for me and my employees, and other people get to use it. But sometimes some people ask me stuff about like, hey, could you add this? Can you change that? I'm like, me and my team don't want to change that. So I guess we're just going to keep it that way for now.
You're like, this is how it works for us. And we are the primary customers. I love this. So like so many stories, you built it because you had a need that there wasn't anything out there that was satisfied by it. For the folks who may not know, you mentioned earlier you were a ghostwriter. And if you're a content creator and you're watching this, you know exactly what Ruben is talking about. But it's quite interesting. I didn't know that you came from that background. What is basically you are writing for other people, right? Like, would you please give me like a better definition?
So this is why EasyGen is not. So people compare EasyGen to ChatGPT or to other tools that writes, and they're like, oh, so EasyGen is like something that writes. I compare EasyGen to a ghostwriter. I apply the same science and things that I've learned for 10 years now on EasyGen. So a ghostwriter is someone that writes your content. So you have calls with your ghostwriter, or you can send it podcast, for example. I'm going to take you as an example, Andrea. Let's say you have a ghostwriter for your LinkedIn, and you're like, you tell the ghostwriter, look, I'm someone who's quite busy. You're quite busy. You do a lot of meetings. You do podcasts. You do your best so that GitHub and GitHub for Startups grow and blossom. So the problem is you probably don't have time to spend on creating good content, even though you know it's useful. So you're going to stop paying a ghostwriter, and you're like, okay, I want you to listen to my podcast with Ruben and come up with 2, 3, 4, 5 things that was interesting enough for me to share it. Especially, you can take into account the reaction I had, which was true. I mean, yours. So then
sentiment.
Yeah, because you already said some stuff, so it's true, and then I can take that extract what you said and extract what I said, and then make a post out of it. So this is how a ghostwriter works. The problem is, if you do that, one, it's going to cost you like $2,000, $3,000, $5,000 per month, depending on the quality of the ghostwriter. The ghostwriter is quite expensive, and also you have a lot of back and forth, and that's the problem. That's the issue. What I wanted with EasyGen, it's not just a ghostwriter for $2 a day. Is that the fact that you can type your topic, what you want to talk about, and then you press generate. You have a generation. You like it, you don't like it. You don't have to explain yourself. You can regenerate if you want it, 2, 3 times, 5 times, as much as you want. You can keep it that way. You can edit it. You can prepare more in advance and then stop. So that's how I wanted to build it. I think there is beauty in being the one managing that content, because you're the one who had the discussion with me. So maybe it's going to take you a long time to translate to someone, this is how I felt. This is what I really want to emphasize on. This is what I believe is true. I think people must create content, especially today. Doesn't mean that you have to be a content creator like I am, meaning this is what I do for a living every day, all the time. But like, there is a healthy amount of content, just like sports. You don't have to be a bodybuilder. You have people who just do that, and that's fine.
Right.
Staying fit is probably useful. You can live longer. So here, the analogy is you're going to help your company. You're going to get your message across. And also, it's something that is you, Andrea. You can have a different company in 10 years from now. You'll be maybe somewhere else than GitHub. But your content is your content. That's you. It will always stay with you.
I love that. I love this. It's not, and that was actually one of the things I wanted to ask you, like, because that differentiator, right? Like, well, I can just dump this on the free version of ChatGPT and it'll spit something out.
Exactly.
And I have to give you a quick little analogy of something I actually posted about it a few days ago. Because I've noticed more and more posts that are coming through. Of course, everyone is using the tool. And listen, I love your quote, master AI before it masters you. Yeah, they're not going to take our jobs, but the folks who are utilizing them and utilizing them well might. So I've been seeing all these posts from different people I know who are, maybe they're not necessarily content creators, but they're trying to start to get well known in the tech industry, which is a really big but little world. It feels like, especially in open source and communities, like at the end, we all know each other somehow. We're like connected. And this post that I keep seeing recurrently, it's calling folks wanting technology enthusiasts. And this is a ChatGPT generated thing. I know it 100% because I've seen it. It's generated for me before. And it's so funny because you can look at it, and please, I challenge for everyone. Go find a few, send them to me on DM. I'll send you a sticker because I guarantee you'll find more than a few. Attention technology enthusiasts. Insert emoji.
There's a way to know. I mean, it was true before GPT-4o. Maybe now it's less true, but there is something that ChatGPT keeps saying when you want to write a LinkedIn post. Most of the times it starts with, are you something with a question as the hook, the first line. Are you tired of companies that don't use GitHub? Something like that. Always, are you tired of, are you excited about, with like a question that always start with are you? Usually this is ChatGPT. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. And so it's becoming, obviously it's been out for a while. It's more and more accessible. You don't really need to pay for a license to use some of these tools. So it's great, but it's starting to turn, in my opinion, a lot of the content that we're seeing extremely unoriginal, very boring and bland. And I feel like it misses that bit of personality. This is my personal challenge with content creation, that you legit described it to a T. I don't have the time to sit down and write many blog posts. So I gave it a go at the beginning. I'm like, let me try and see if and honestly, I felt like it was losing the essence of what I wanted to communicate. And if I go back and read things that I wrote long before this was a tool that I could use, there is a difference in tone that I just feel like you're missing a bit of me. So I love the idea of having a ghostwriter better than having just a general,
Exactly. And here you said a lot of things about where I'm not going to go with EasyGen. You said, I don't want to lose my soul. I don't want something that is generic. There's a big problem. And that problem is the big problem I'm trying to solve with LLMs, with AI.
Mm-hmm.
The big problem is that LLMs are meant to be generic. Let me rephrase it. That's actually why you can trust them. So an LLM like ChatGPT is basically like the T9 you have on your phone. When you type I am, and then the word that says home or sick or whatever that you are, the highest probability word. This is an LLM. It's just this on steroid, right? It's the highest probability word, right? So if you say I am, it's going to say home. Are you okay? Question mark. So the problem is, now that you understand that it's the highest probability, which is good, because if you say, what is the capital of France? The highest probability is Paris, So this is good. But the problem with content is that if you do the highest probability word over and over again, you keep having generic content because it's meant to be generic. What's the highest probability is the most generic. But good content is not generic, right? So then there is a problem. A lot of people told me, like, the problem with EasyGen is that I have to say what I want to write about. So I need to have like a first draft, even if the first draft is scrappy, because this is how I meant using it. I still have to come up with a first draft, and I have a hard time. If you want me to come up with a first draft, meaning if you want an AI to come up with a first draft, it will be generic because it's meant to be, because this is how it's done. This is why I built it as a ghostwriter, meaning you talk to a ghostwriter or you type. Soon I'll be adding the fact that you can talk to it, obviously.
What? Oh, I love that.
That's or you can put like a video, like for example, you have like the podcast right now. You could put the podcast and select bits of it. We're going to add this in the future. But the idea is a ghostwriter is not meant to be generic or not. It's meant to translate what you wanted to say into a nice formatted post. Just like you have a lot of autobiography where the guy is not a book writer, so he's not good at writing a book, but he get the help from a ghostwriter, and he talks to the ghostwriter, and then the ghostwriter is like, oh, that's what you mean. Okay, now I can make up a story out of it, like the story of your life. Same goes to a ghostwriter. I don't want to find the potential things we said during the podcast. No, I want you to tell EasyGen, hey, we talked about that. That was cool. Can you make a post about that? And then it makes the post. But then you're like, okay, that was 80, 90% good, because EasyGen is not meant to be 100% good all the time. You're going to be 80, 90% there. And you're like, okay, that's interesting. I would have get rid of this. Here, maybe the word is not strong enough. I would change it, edit it a little bit, and then you're good. You're good to go. The whole process of writing a post, which used to take an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, is now taking 20 minutes, 15 minutes of your time. It's still time, but it's much more pleasable. Yeah.
And so you're basically applying, like, it sounds like prompt engineering principles here. Like, I can iterate on what I wanted to do. That's more tailored towards the direction that, like, the context that I'm trying to get through. I love this. And the tool itself is a Chrome extension. I actually spoke about, I joined your, I think it's a Slack that you have for your users.
Oh yeah, I have a WhatsApp group.
A WhatsApp group, that's it.
Yeah.
Which I love the fact that you are super communicative there, by the way. It's great.
Have no WhatsApp, which is the same WhatsApp as my mom has. So for now, no freak. Actually, one guy got a bit weird and I had to block him. But apart from one guy, 5,000 people, technically no one called me. Everyone's good.
Impressive. That's impressive.
I know it's a bit weird. It's something that I learned from one of my previous clients. So Nicolas, the guy I was ghostwriting for before, he's the biggest financial analyst in France, and he used to do that. He used to put his email in his phone on Twitter, and he has like 120,000 followers. I was like, Nicolas, are you nuts? Are you crazy? People are going to call you. Especially, he's talking a lot about investments. So it was like, people are going to call you. He said, technically, people don't do it. People just don't do it.
That is fascinating. Like, all of us are so concerned about privacy and stuff like that. But I actually quite enjoy the approach, because I feel like at the stage where the company is, like, you're listening to your users a lot, which is such a key component for
will be so fast. It's really
intentional growth and to take that feedback. And I've seen the interactions where it's like people are telling you, this is what I've done. And it's great to have that kind of support from a tool that you're using. I have to ask you, you're thinking about like branding and what, like, a person's brand. And there's a lot of folks who are joining this who are, maybe they follow GitHub, maybe they follow you, they follow me, they follow other streams that we do. And they're wondering, like, why do I even need to bother to establish a brand? Or like, how can this be useful to me? So I think a lot of folks have tons of hesitation to be in any kind of social. That's one, which is respectful, right? Like, if that's not your jam, that's not your jam. But like, what do you think potentially for, especially in the fields of engineering, product management, startup world,
why
the
should
value of having a brand?
Why should people care about you? It's such a good question. We say first-time founders are technical and they want to build the best product. Second-time founder focus on marketing, because they understand that if you build even the best tool on the planet, there's a high chance no one will care if you're not good enough at sharing it. I learned that when I was 17. When I was 17, I was obsessed with techno music. I was obsessed with it. I loved it, and I had the chance to meet a lot of bedroom producers. So it's those guys who spend 10, 15 hours a day, I'm not kidding, on music, producing music, making it perfect. And in their mind, it's funny because the analogy with startups is exactly the same with founders of startup. They thought if they produce the best music ever, they will be recognized as a good artist, and then they can live because of it. Okay? And so the way it works in the techno music industry, like I'm talking about like the niche one, not the big festivals ones, is that 99% of the people don't make any money out of it. You try to get an album out, and if the album is big enough, then you get some gigs, you get paid to play. And then that's the moment you can start maybe living out of it, a tiny touch. And the more you're known, the more you can attract people to the club, and the more you get paid. The problem is that, and that's how I started, by starting my own label. I was trying to tell the bedroom producers, okay, focus on your craft, but someone has to take care of the fact that you need to share it to more people. So at that time, I was 17, so it's 10 years ago. It was Facebook, SoundCloud, Dailymotion, a tiny bit YouTube, a tiny bit Instagram. That was way before. But I understood that without a platform, without a community, you can be the very best DJ in the world, and I met them. You're never going to have your first success. You're never going to make it. And that's a shame. Now we go to the second phase. Okay, content is important, but I don't want to talk about myself. I don't want to talk about what I eat for breakfast. I don't want to talk about X, Y, Z. I want to talk about my music, let's say. Perfect. Talk about that. Actually, there is a problem with their so-called personal branding. Personal branding does not mean being personal at all. Personal branding means you're not a company. So if you're Andrea, for example, turns out that following you as a person, Andrea, is much more relatable than following a company. Okay, let's say Facebook, Meta. Okay, the thing is, Andrea, you're a human being. You had experience that we can connect with. You're not an English native speaker. Already, we can connect. We can talk about it. You had experience in the past. We could talk for hours. The thing is, you're a human being, so I can relate to you much more than any other company, right? That's the personal branding. Where people get it wrong is that they think content should be personal, meaning I have to share my story, otherwise it's not going to be good content because I have to make a personal content, right? Absolutely not. Make content that matters to people, to others. If people follow me, it's not because I tell about my story. I tell my story very few moments. Like podcasts, I do it in my WhatsApp a little bit. When I'm on stage as a guest speaker, a tiny touch. But people follow me because I'm learning something, I'm discovering something, and I'm sharing that information.
Right.
Obviously, now that we know each other, Andrea, I'd love to know how was your life in Colombia and how did you become Andrea? But if we just meet, I'll be interested. What do you do at GitHub for Startup, and why GitHub for Startup should be something that I should consider? Because when you make content, people read it with their screen, meaning, especially on LinkedIn or when it's the professional world, what they have in mind is, okay, I am at point A. I'm going to read the content. I need to be at B now. Yeah, I need to transform. So it's me. You need to transform me. And you don't have to show about your life story to do that. Usually just educate me on that matter. Like, tell me some of the learnings that you've discovered, which is also part of you, by the way.
Right.
That I'm discovering about content is also part of me, obviously, because I love that topic. But I don't have to tell you everything about my life in Berlin or when I lived in Korea before. Like, you would relate less to that than me telling you about content, because it's relatable. You try
Right.
and I have like skills in that matter, so I can help you become better at this. And this is where it's actually good content.
So for a person who's looking to, I think we've all been doing branding wrong. Honestly, Ruben, the way that you just described what branding is and sharing, it's...
Share your stories.
Yeah, literally, like, and that's why a lot of resistance for folks, because they're like, I don't want to put all my, personal details out, or I don't want to.
My husband, my wife, don't do that.
Right. So if I'm let's make this applicable to like fellow startup founders, right, or fellow startups themselves.
Yeah.
So I'm a startup founder. Maybe I'm at seed stage. Maybe I do have a MVP. Maybe I'm about to have my 1.0 big release. And so how am I managing that? Because you have such a unique position and a point of view, because it's both your expertise and your business, and it's also what you're known for. So it's like the triple whammy.
That's why.
But like how can startup founders apply those same tools, what you just mentioned, that same philosophy to the way that they share their journey building their startups? Because I've seen it done well, and I've seen it done absolutely poorly, where it actually it turns you off about the product, and it might be a great product, but I'm no longer interested.
So so you have two extremes. So I talk about one extreme being too personal, when in the end it's like, no, help me. Help me first. Me being the audience. Okay, I'm reading the founder's content. I'm like, no, help me. I don't want to hear about the personal story. Maybe down the line I want to hear it, but not now. Not as a first introduction.
The hook is not that.
Yeah, exactly. But then you have the other extreme, and the other extreme is like, my company, it's the best. The problem is, it might be the best at doing what you do, but I kind of know you're just pushing yourself down my throat. So you're not in the position of trying to help me. You're in a position of like, can I get your money to help you? So it's like, the problem is that we're bombarded with ads and stuff. So we're growing kind of skeptical of anything that we try to push down our throat. I don't want to hear it. So then that's the other extreme. Let's say you're a founder of a habit tracker or something that comes with productivity. Okay. you're probably helping a certain type of people. Okay, they probably have problems, and your solution, your habit tracker, let's call it Andrea Tracker, the Andrea Tracker help us, but it's just one of the solution that you're providing. Meaning that's one of the solution in the life of someone who wants to be more productive, but also want to have a better work-life balance, let's say, or you want to get out of a routine. Let's say the Andrea Tracker gets us out of one bad routine and gets us better at one routine, like a positive one, and we reduce one negative one. You can make your entire content, 80% of your content, about how hard it is to abandon a bad routine and how positive it is to embrace one good routine. It doesn't have to be about the tool itself. It's just now you embody like the person that needs the solution. And what would be even better is if you are that person as well. If I keep talking about content, it's because I love content. I love the fact that one person in one side of the world can talk and you have millions of people who can listen and you can help them. I love that. I love that process. I want to help more people doing that. I want to help you doing that genuinely. If you were having that conversation about content, I wouldn't talk about EasyGen. EasyGen is one tool. You need many tools and also some mental frameworks about it. I have a paid newsletter that I started 2 months ago when EasyGen got released. Okay, my problem was when EasyGen got released, I couldn't tell people just use it. I have 400,000 followers. You're gonna have the same. That wasn't the message. So I said, I have 2 employees, Axel and Anisha. They never posted on LinkedIn. I mean, Anisha technically posted 2 years ago. They barely posted on LinkedIn. They start from scratch. Okay. And so I told Axel and Anisha, I said, can I handle your LinkedIn? And I'm going to record myself with this camera. And each week, I'm going to make a week of content for you. It was kind of weird. The boss was making the content for the employees. but I was like, I'm going to record myself.
Lucky employee.
Yeah, it was part of their job as well to help me out on finding the right topic, the right image, the right video. Axel is all about finding the latest AI demos, so videos. Anisha is all about overcoming mental blocks. So she's a very introverted person, but she loves sharing on LinkedIn. So she's all about overcoming those mental blocks. Anyway, when I started it, I didn't know how it would go. I'm starting to build Anisha as an Excel account. We don't know how it's going to go. Hopefully it's going to go good. But during those videos that takes about an hour each week, I don't just talk about EasyGen. Talk about Pinterest, Perplexity, Google, Gemini, Claude, all of the things that you need to make content, but also something mentally sometimes. I have to teach people a good design on social media is as far as possible as an ad. It needs to look like everything but an ad. How active should you be on LinkedIn? Should you schedule your post? Like a lot of different things than EasyGen. And my content is not just EasyGen. It's an umbrella of things. That's what a founder should embrace. An umbrella of solution. Him is one of the solution, but he's part of a process, a transformational journey. I want you to go from A to B. EasyGen is one of the things that you need, and hopefully it's going to be very good at it. But you can not use it, it's fine. I think you're missing out. But you also need tons of different things anyway. Eventually, Axel and Anisha reached on their own without ads 1 million followers.
No way.
Not 1 million followers, a million views. So in 25 days. And now it's been 70 something days and they reached 3.2 million views. So no ads, purely organically. And at first, I was even telling during the podcast, it's not a podcast, it's like YouTube videos. I was just saying like, I don't know how it's going to go, but if it goes bad, then it means that I should improve EasyGen and I'll keep improving it. If it goes good, I should keep doing it. And it went well. So I
That's
that as a founder.
So it's not so much shoving the product and pushing the product so much, more about the story. And telling the story is so important. So tell me about the application of EasyGen itself, right? So like I download as a Chrome extension, I download it, and then automatically I have a view that allows me to give it an input. Yes, let's do that. We didn't talk about this, but please do share your screen and then we can all take a look. And folks, if you're watching this and you have questions for Ruben, like this is the time. I definitely taken some reflections on how poorly I've been doing content creation.
Share the screen. I should share like my entire screen, otherwise it's not gonna work. So okay, that's my LinkedIn right here.
Okay, perfect.
And we are gonna write a quick post. So that's
the extension itself.
That's EasyGen right here. You can click on create. That's all of my posts right here. You can copy them. So the entire post, you can edit them if you want it. You just come and you edit it. But the best way to use it is to click on create. You can have topic suggestions because you have a little onboarding, so we know a little bit about you.
Okay.
That's like the lazy ones. But as I said, you should probably not use that. I'll probably get rid of it at some point because people don't use it correctly. Remember, it's still a beta, and I'm a solo founder bootstrap. You should use that, your topic. This is where you get to actually write your stuff and write about anything. So I don't know, personal branding is not about being personal, but being relatable.
Okay.
Must share about how to transform the life of your audience, not about your own life. We don't care about what you eat for breakfast.
I love this prompt. I don't want to see it.
Oh yeah, by the way, EasyGen is meant to not be prompted. So you
it's not? Okay.
Fine. I meant it because people always ask me like, how do I prompt this? Is it like ChatGPT? I'm like, it's not. It's not like ChatGPT. You need to draft it like out of your head. What you eat for breakfast, but rather what solution you provide to the world. So I always copy it before the generation.
Okay.
In the new version of EasyGen, it's going to be a web app. We can regenerate easily. We can keep the topic saved. It's going to be a web app out of the Chrome extension. For now, we need to copy it because with LLM, you still have hallucination. Maybe that generation is not going to be good, and I'm going to regenerate right after. And maybe after 2-3 generations, it's going to be good. So
this is a LinkedIn post that is generating.
It's made for LinkedIn posts, but as you can tell,
Ruben, can you zoom in a tiny bit on
sure.
the actual?
I hope I can zoom in, but not the Chrome.
But not on in this. Okay, that's cool. Let's see.
I'm sorry for that. I wish I could zoom in, but yeah.
You can tell us what's going on.
Post. You have an entire post correctly formatted with the right hook. I can generate it again, and I have another one with an entire list. I can go back, your topic, and now this is the third one. Oh, maybe this one is even better. Most of us misunderstand personal branding. Did you know it's not about sharing your personal life, but about being relatable? This content is key to transforming your audience lives. Focus on solutions, and then it's a whole thing. It's kind of like what I've said. Doesn't mean that it's perfect. I can go back here, edit it, copy it, be like, oh, I would take this, I would take that. Sometimes I combine them. But that's how I do it. And with my team, I can show you my Notion. We have a Notion of all of the posts that we need to do, you see? And I can take one, just like this one. Anisha wants to share this image right here. Don't let your bad day trick you into thinking you had a bad life, because she's all about, those, she's all about like getting for those inspiration to overcome your mental blocks. So,
okay.
If you literally, I can even take that one sentence. It would be better if I could write an entire thing about it, right? In your topic, like explain why it matters to my audience, not me, why people should care about that sentence. But technically, I could also just generate it, and you have an entire post. So that's how it's done. I don't know.
That's super simple. No, that's actually like, and it's very accessible. So it works in Chrome. I think it must be working Edge, because I definitely did not switch browsers.
Yeah.
And I was using it.
Works.
I think
it's not meant for it, but sometimes it works. And and it's gonna be a web app mid-August for the paid users, and early September for the other ones. We're literally building it right now.
Amazing. You've covered so much that I wanted to ask already.
Yeah.
Talking about, like how to keep things personal, what you should focus on and what you shouldn't, like how to position basically your messaging in a way that comes across as authentic, but it's still getting what you're trying to say. Which answered already a lot of the things that I wanted to talk about. I've noticed not long ago that LinkedIn actually has now a native feature that's trying to do something similar.
Yes.
I have to ask, like, what's like?
course.
We heard a lot of differentiators already,
I
and I know this because I've actually played with the tool,
Yeah.
and so I understand the
How's it?
differentiators. You know what? I quite enjoy it, but I think very much like what we discussed, I don't think I was utilizing like how I should have. I think I was my mind was very much sent on prompting versus training, I guess,
don't know
or
how they built it,
describing.
but I don't want to get into any beef with the LinkedIn team.
Of course not, yeah.
Well, I
But
don't
I'd
know
love
what
to
they're
know, what do you think it's one of the? I mean, obviously, it's not a generic thing what you built, right?
Yeah,
That's
no,
one.
it's pretty generic. It's a wrap up of GPT-4, sure, and I'm fine. I understand why they're doing it. They want more people to post because then they have more active users. That means the valuation of the company is higher. So no problem, I get that. But there are other stuff where I'm like kind of confused, and I keep telling my community, don't do that. I'm the AI guy on LinkedIn, okay, but I'm not 100% AI. Let's go AI for everything. No. For example, there's one feature LinkedIn put, which is AI comments, meaning if you read one of my posts or anyone's post, you have question, and if you click on it, LinkedIn's going to give you an answer, and you can just copy that answer and just put it inside LinkedIn under my comment section. It sounds like a good idea. It's the worst idea you can ever build inside an app.
Really? Tell me why.
Why do I post on LinkedIn? I post on LinkedIn so that I can inspire other people to take a certain action, and I can help them throughout their journey. And I want to connect with them one-on-one. I'm not writing to get, and turns out that it's already the case, 20%, 30% of my comments are AI generated. It's not with bad intention. It's real people. It's not even bots. But the problem is, if it goes to 50%, 70% of comments are AI generated, I'll eventually maybe stop writing content or not on that platform because this is not what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for just like talking to like facade of people who just put like AI comments, So I think it's a very dangerous activity from LinkedIn to just give that to people, which will obviously use it because you just give it to them, right?
Right. It's so easy. You just click on it and
I'm not even mad at people using it. I don't understand like the company itself that built this, which is a pretty fast track on how to kill a platform, because then if you cannot have genuine conversation, and by the way, GitHub is like the place for that. Imagine if all of a sudden GitHub becomes just a place for AI conversation. 50% of the conversation are AI generated. We're going to run into a developer is actually asking for help from another one. They want to discuss. Maybe something's going to flourish from that conversation. We never know. But if you kill that, then it's no longer social. It's just a hybrid of whatever it is, So I want AI to be a tool to help us, like pen and paper, but you can do tons of stuff with pen and paper. But pen and paper is not the end product. It's what you write with it, right? So it shouldn't be about the pen and the paper. It should be about what you write with it, with the paper, and how good is what you wrote, It's not because you use pen and paper that is good. And it's not because it is pen and paper that is good. Like, it's a whole thing,
Yeah, that's super interesting. I don't think, listen, for those of you who use GitHub already, I don't think there is a place for, obviously, automation and generation like this, where it saves people time. Yeah, if I'm looking through documentation for a specific portion of the product, and now I have this assistant that I don't have to ping my colleagues, hey, where in this bazillion files can I find this particular thing? Like, that's amazing, right? But I don't want to have the conversation about what we're going to put on the product roadmap with a virtual assistant. I don't want to talk about like your experience within a particular feature of the platform with a generated piece of code. So
Yeah.
that's super, super interesting. Of all the people, all the users, are you okay to share like how many users you have so far? And if no, that's totally fine.
That's fine. I have 6,000 free users and
Okay.
a little bit above 400 active paid users.
And growing. And you are not targeting enterprises yet, or am I incorrect on that?
What's funny is that the day I launched EasyGen, an agency, personal branding agency, sent me a message and they wanted to pay cash. They wanted to buy the company. I was like, and they wanted to directly close EasyGen so they can just use it for them. So I know I might branch at some point and build a B2B version of it for like a personal branding agency, marketing agencies. But for now, as Anish says in the comment section, it's maybe mostly for not solopreneur, but solopreneur is one of them. People who care about their content and they want to do it themselves. And eventually maybe agencies are going to do it.
Yeah. I love that. This is when you knew you had something. You're like, this is definitely the thing, right?
Yeah.
Like on day zero, people are really interested on the commercial applications of it. So that's super, super interesting. All the users that you had, and I know you're active because I know you're talking to these folks on your WhatsApp. Just
I have 5 groups WhatsApp. People.
With different people. Like, have you heard any stories of like anything that's been like impactful about, and folks are using it to grow their own personal brand. They might be using it to grow their personal brand with the objective of pushing their business, which is a very valid use case too, right? Like, I want you to know about my thing and you're teaching me how to do it better. Could you share some of those? Like, have you seen an application where it's like, this is wild?
First, and this is something I'm quite proud of. If you go on the Chrome store and you check the reviews, so I have 50 reviews, 4.9. I even talked to the one guy that didn't put 5. And we had a discussion.
For you.
But you can check them. They have their name, first name and last name for most of them. You can check them on LinkedIn. It's real people. You can just read the reviews. It's an endless amount of stories that I'm going to put. I asked to all of them if I can put it on my website using a website to do that. It's a wall of love. But one of my favorite is Bora. Bora is a guy who works in Germany, and he works for a big company. I don't want to put too much light on him because he got so successful using EasyGen whenever he was sharing about his own stuff or the company stuff that one day the company had a big launch and the CEO made a post, and an hour later Bora made a post, but his post got like 10 times, 100 times more views than the CEO's post. And then he got scolded for that. So the CEO actually asked him to put down the post, but then some of his colleagues said like, but it's bringing so much views on the company, we should never do that. So it's crazy because I had a call with Bora who couldn't believe it. He said he was one of my first users. We talk on WhatsApp a lot. And he got like hundreds of thousands of views per post on a lot of posts using EasyGen. For him, it's like life-changing. He still has the same job. This is what's crazy. It's not even a founder. He literally has a job. But he said, it's crazy. I've never thought to be in that position. But now it's been like a few months because he was there before the beta. So roughly like 3 months ago. And now it's been like 2 months. His boss is like, okay. He understood that it was actually something positive. And that he could benefit from it, and the company could benefit from it, and his team could benefit from it. So you can tell how early it is to be still, how unknown it is to be someone who can share the word to more people as a content creator, and still have a job and still have wife and kids. It's something that is for now not so known, but I'm convinced that in 5 or 10 years, it's going to be just as normal as having a phone or having a website or whatever. It's just going to be part of our lives.
I love this. You sound so much like I've been hearing a lot of that. Like that's a strong messaging from like even from us as a company. How like now everyone can code now. Everyone can use these generative AI tools to actually have it make code more accessible, and you can now create things that before it would have taken you a ton of time and frustration and very much like what your product does, if I understand it correctly, you are still the expert of your thing, like, and it
Yeah.
needs to you are the person who's behind
Yeah.
the outputs. It's just
Code can
an
be good,
assistant
code
of
can do
sorts,
bad. It
right?
depends on a lot of how the person used the code. So same with AI. People always say, but is AI generated content good? I'm like, is pen and paper writing good books?
Well, there's a
not
lot of
only-
crap books out there.
Yeah, you have a bunch of crappy
Right.
books. You maybe have even more crappy books than good books. Okay.
Right.
But then you see, you flip the narrative. It's not, for now, it's funny how it has to be a conversation. I'm convinced in 10 years it's not going to be a conversation. But that conversation, by the way, when computer just got started and people started to write book using computers, was at the very beginning of docs. A lot of book writers would say, it's not made with pen and paper. It's not a real book. It's
Right.
not a real book. It's a computer book. Imagine today telling someone, a script writer from Hollywood or Netflix, you're not a real script writer because you use a computer. What do you mean?
Yeah, no.
I have to use a pen and paper to write a script? It's crazy. It's madness. Who do that? Doesn't mean that you cannot do it, but don't do it, but doesn't mean that because you use a computer, all of a sudden you're Netflix worthy. So it's not because you use AI that all of a sudden you're going to be viral.
Right.
No, use it, the message, your branding. It's a lot of different tools. And I want to help not just on the caption. Eventually, I want to help on more aspect of content creation. But we'll still go back to our roots, which is like, what's your message? What do you want to get across? How do you want to help?
I have questions about your roadmap. And feel free to say no, because this is outside of the things that we've discussed before. But I wonder, are you ever, so I know you're going to have a web application. So the idea is you're going to not be just LinkedIn, right? Like it's going to be.
No, for now, it's purely LinkedIn.
Okay.
Which is like professional / educational content.
Okay.
Why LinkedIn is so good is because it's not meant to be like SEO, like a full article, which has to follow keywords and backlinks and all that stuff. I don't want to deal with it. And Twitter, it's quite short. So for now, just optimizing for LinkedIn, which is like a 3,000 character article, is already hard enough. Trust me, because you have that, you have design that comes with it that I want to help at some point, and you have ideation that I want to help as well. So before making content, I want to help you, but it's still you, the captain. Very important, not the AI. You are the captain. AI is still the pen and paper. You can ideate, then create content like text, and then create the design with it.
This is so exciting. Okay, so if I'm watching this right now and I'm like, you know what, I need to dust off. Actually, I'm here with a colleague who said, I need to share what we're doing here. I haven't logged into LinkedIn like in 2 years, but what we're doing is important to him. So it's like, I'm going to open it and like go ahead and share it. So like for all of you who are like maybe not as active on LinkedIn, or maybe you're not sure how to get started, like, so I sign up for the free tier. What do I get? And anyone can do it, right? Anyone can download the Chrome extension and just get started.
Here's a question maybe that I should answer from, because
please, let's take a look.
I'm sorry, Stephanie. You said there is a bias in the experience of LinkedIn views because Ruben is linked to his 2 team members, for example.
Oh, got you. Yes.
That will impact them positively. If anytime I would like a post, it would make people go from 0 to 3 million views in 2 months. I'll be very rich. That's 1. 2, I won't have 4 employees. I'll have 40, if not 400, if not 4,000. If it was as simple as just liking their posts, can you imagine that? Like, I would put my entire family, and you know what? I will pay someone to use my account to just like people. That's people like to think that there is some secret around how we did it. Maybe you use pods, maybe you use ads secretly, maybe you use this or that. I recorded myself making all of their posts. You can check their activity. I have 11 videos for 11 weeks of 1 hour.
Right. That's super interesting. So I've seen this, and I believe why the way you're explaining it, it's 100% accurate, because I see this with people on like tech Twitter, right? I'll never call it X, that might have 500,000 followers, and they do a post and it barely gets like a few likes, right? Like it barely gets any, and I'm like, wow, that's so interesting. It's not a numbers game. Like in a way, it's the quality and the reach, but it's not just because you're gonna give it a spotlight doesn't mean that the 400,000 people who follow you are going to
people
consume it
want
the
the
same.
shortcuts. People want the
Yeah.
shortcuts. They want something that has a secret that
Yeah.
must be explained through magic. So either positively or negatively. Meaning positively, I'm looking to lose weight. There must be a secret pill to do that, or some special technique other than calorie deficits and doing some sports. That must be one, right? And then there's a negative one. Oh, Andrea, you're quite fit. You must have something. There's something fishy about it.
How are you cheating? Right? Yeah,
And the only reason you're actually, it's probably genetic. Maybe you have a weird diet. Maybe you did something to your stomach. I don't know, but there must be something. People love to hear the shortcuts, and I hear it. I understand it's a very human sentiment. It's a very human emotion. But turns out that I didn't just press a few buttons and my 2 employees skyrocketed. No, they do a very good job at curating the right content and sharing what I showed you, like the prompt of EasyGen, so your topic. So I asked Anisha and Axel to spend at least 45 minutes per day just finding the right topic, finding the right image or the right video, and then just sharing it to me. It takes about 30 minutes, 45 minutes. And then I write the post using EasyGen. I record myself doing it. And then they post it and they engage with their community for another 15, 20, 30 minutes. So it's like at least, I would say they invest an hour a day on making content for themselves. And then the rest is, they work for me. They do other stuff. But the thing is, as an employer, and I'm going to do that with 2 new employees now, Ethan in China, even if it's like 30 minutes to an hour a day that they invest in their brand, it is positive to me. It is positive to them. So I'm quite happy about it.
I love that. I love that. This has been such an interesting conversation. We have gone way past the time. I am so sorry, but I was definitely no. I apologize because I'm here, and I please my apologies. Before we go, because you mentioned something earlier, and I know we have a lot of folks that are watching this who might be in different stages of their own journey to become founders. And you were very candid about, I'm a non-technical founder. I care about the story. I care about, and so I love that. Do you have any advice for the folks out there that are watching this, and maybe they're the other end of the spectrum? Maybe they are the technical person. How do they find a Ruben? Like, how can you, any advice on, I love to hear
something very important. I am a big believer that the best combination you can do to build a startup, the very best combination you can do, is a content creator who's obsessed about something and a technical guy who's obsessed by the same thing, and they just connect together. Because this is what happened. I think you'll see, mark my words, in 10 years from now, you'll have tons of successful companies, tons of them, would it be AI or not, that has one person who's excellent at communicating. By the way, Sam Altman with OpenAI was excellent, and some highly technical guy who's just obsessed about the solution. It's just a combination of the two, one that is a megaphone and one that is very good at just technically do it. It's just the best combination you can do. So
I love this.
I'm one that is capable of that. You have tons of content creators who just don't know how to build their own thing, but what they're building is actually their community, their audience, and their obsession, and to share the solution to other people. They are already spending so much time doing that. And when I met Pete, my CTO and co-founder, he said, yeah, keep doing that. Keep doing that. I keep doing my technical part.
So you need to look outside of your immediate, that's the thing though, we tend to like,
which is
hard. Aligned, working with the same people.
You're all the technical guy, exactly. But this
this is a very, very excellent tip. I need that on a t-shirt. I don't know how to, I need to use it. It needs to be a quote that we can repeat again and again, because honestly, like that diversity of thought and a skill, more importantly, it's what makes life.
Guy, for sure.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So you've just had a release from beta, not
2 months
long
ago.
ago. Next thing is gonna be the web app that's coming up next.
Exactly. The web app.
This is super exciting. I know that you have, I love how ingrained we're going to be, that this is a reality of our life. And I hope 10 years from now, I can come back to this clip of you saying, you can bet on this, that it's not even a conversation because it's so ingrained on the way that we work every day. And why not? I super appreciate it. I appreciate your time. I don't want to ignore it. I'm so sorry, Stephanie, because I was, listen, very selfishly. Part of the great joys of doing this is that I get to have. I feel like it's my conversation with women.
I can answer the 2 questions at the very end. Just
let's do it. Yes, please.
Do you think the tool can evolve into an AI agent? I don't believe in AI agents plus social media, because then it means automation means bot behavior, which means what I just told you before. Like, social media absolutely hate bots. This is they literally have teams of engineers, hundreds of engineers. Their sole mission is to find bots. So as soon as you have a bot behavior, meaning automation, and you don't do anything, you're going to be punished for that. And turns out that being social on social media is a good idea. It takes time, but it's worth it. And Stephanie said, I'm French. Moi aussi, je suis français. On peut en fait parler français. Do you advise to write in English on LinkedIn or in French? EasyGen work in French. EasyGen does not
I love this question.
French. Because I built it for English. Now, a lot of people like Bora, for example, he writes in German. So they use EasyGen in English, and then they use DeepL, DEEPL, which is probably the best translator you can have around, to translate in Spanish, in Portuguese, in German, in Dutch. And should you write in English or in French on LinkedIn, who is your audience? That's it. If your audience is located in France, and you want to talk to French people, your clients are in France, you want to grow in France, you want to build your community in France, that's fine. You should write in French, but you should never do both. That's the only,
no way. So what is your advice then for folks who might have, what if you have a split audience? Can you not have a split audience? You got to sacrifice one. No, they're like kids.
Actually, you know why? Okay, then I'm gone. A little course on social media, okay?
Please say.
The way social media works is that you post, and then they do micro testing. It's called micro testing. Okay, Andrea, let's say you have 1,000 followers, and the 1,000 followers are connected when you post. Exactly when you post, all of them are here. You post, not all of them are going to see it. It's too risky for the platform. Let's say you put like the worst post possible. I don't know, it's a picture of your feet. I don't know, and it has nothing to do with LinkedIn, okay?
Right.
It has nothing to do with LinkedIn. LinkedIn cannot risk to show your post to 1,000 people, because then the platform is going to be bad. People are going to leave the platform. So what they do is called micro testing. They're going to take 20 people from that 1,000, and they're going to show the picture. Oh, no one reacts, and everyone scrolls actually really fast. They don't even stop. So now they're like, oh, this post is really bad. So, okay, out of the 1,000 people, we already selected 20. Now we might show it to like 5 or 10, and they keep testing it, but now with less people. Still doesn't perform. Okay, we're going to show it to 30 people out of 1,000. I think that's enough. Enough people saw your feed. Now let's say another one. You posted one of the best posts in GitHub history. Okay. Wow. And now out of the 1,000 people, the 20 people, 18 liked, 2 reposted, 3 commented. LinkedIn is like, wait, that's massive. This post is insane. I should show it to 500 people now from the 1,000. Out of the 500, 400 liked, 30 reposted. Some people shared it in to their friends. Okay, this post is viral. LinkedIn is like, not only I'm going to show it to 1,000 people now, her followers, I need to show it to more people because I think more people are going to relate to it. And that's how you get viral. Now, the problem is, imagine, Andrea, you said you're natively speaking Spanish, right?
Yeah.
Well, turns out that if you do the best post ever in Spanish, I'm sorry to say, but I'm going to scroll it away because I don't speak Spanish. So it's just physically, if I see something in Dutch, in German, in Hebrew, I just scroll it away. Why? I cannot relate to it. Turns out that this is not the kind of content I'm looking for. So because I scroll away as a non-Spanish speaker, you're kind of losing the micro testing game. But now, if you write in English, but you made it clear that sometimes you post in Spanish, maybe your Spanish audience now is going to scroll away when you write in English. So you're losing on the two sides.
Yeah.
So the best way is just focus on one language. It's already hard enough, and just double down on it.
That is super interesting. Wow, that's very, very interesting. You know, and you and I could talk for hours. I figured that out. So I'm going to stop myself there because it's super late and
I have to go home. It's 11:10.
Yes, of course. But Ruben, oh my gosh, let me share. Where would you like folks to connect with you if they're looking at this?
It's the best, but I have 13,000 connection requests. So it's obviously a nightmare to accept everyone. I cannot, actually, there is a limit.
But folks can follow you, right? And be able to see your content there.
If they really want to connect, they can put a note. I read all of my notes. And if your note is interesting and I want to connect with you, I connect with people.
Okay. I love that. Your top voice on artificial intelligence on LinkedIn, like the content you're putting out is obviously of value to people. It's passing that micro testing. It's being shared. It's being liked.
Good
so folks, even if you don't connect with Ruben, definitely give him a follow so that you can start learning how to use these tools better. And if you're a founder, I hope that you took some of this advice today. I feel like there was so much value on having that story let me shove my product down your throat. It's a fine balance. And now there is so many opportunities for people to talk about themselves and their product. And we just need to learn to do it better. So that is interesting and we stay engaged. So that is super, super interesting.
Thank you to everyone who's listening, by the way. I'm reading your
super appreciate you being here. And you have to come back, please. We need to talk about the future. Next time we come back, let's bring your CTO as well. Yeah, let's bring him. I wanna, because I feel like I love to see your dynamic. That sounds like it'd be super interesting for folks. And okay, before we go, I like to give folks homework. Like if there was one tiny lesson that you want people to take on, and like folks, and thank you so much to over hundreds of you that stay around this entire super long stream. What is your one? Remember this if you remember nothing else. I think Ruben has left us.
You were talking to me? Or
I wanted you. Sorry. I wasn't clear enough. No. I wasn't clear enough.
What did the one take?
The one thing, for all of us who are still here watching.
Before starting to build something as fast as possible, talk about the solution as fast as possible to other people. That's the best way to start. The guy who started Reddit, he printed Reddit and he was posting it everywhere in the streets in his campus because you need to connect with people. So connect first with people, build at the same time, but be obsessed first, driven by the solution and the people you want to help rather than the product itself. I think this is where it's the most important.
That is the quote for the teacher, Ruben. That is the quote for the teacher.
I really have to correct you. Thank you so much.
Please do. No, thank you. And everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. See you soon, Ruben. Take care. Folks, if you're still here, you're my heroes. Thank you so much. I need to edit myself because this was such a unique opportunity to talk to someone on not only their company, but their very interesting views on how to do branding and content and do it right. And I'll tell you, folks, 120 million, it's a big number. It's a big number when you're putting out content the way that he does. Obviously, he's doing something right. His company is doing great for the users. There is a free tier. Give it a try. Go give it a go. Download the extension. And I would love to hear from you. Go ahead and post in the comments if you actually end up generating some content and you did see a turn. I think, for folks who struggle, myself included, I hate to be pedantic. I want to get to the point. I miss a lot of the story, and there's so much value in the story. I think we definitely learned that from Ruben today. And for all of you founders to be, entrepreneurs who are watching this, lean into the tools that you have available to yourselves now. If you are already a startup and you are seed or Series A, please apply for the GitHub for Startup program. I cannot overstate the value of the program, not only for the tools that you're getting, but for the network and opportunity to actually create community with other founders. The insights to talk to. GitHub is where code lives and where companies are being built and continue to grow. So you will be in good company. So if you have a startup and you haven't used GitHub Enterprise, please give it a go. It's completely free, and it's a program that's being created with a lot of thought. There's a lot of very smart folks who are definitely making sure they're crafting something that's going to bring you value. So give it a go. Give EasyGen.io a go. Give Ruin a follow, because there's very few people that I can say that have honest thought leadership, and I hate that word, but I dare apply it to Ruin. I appreciate you all, Ronaldo, Anish, Stephanie, Sergio. Thank you for being here. If you enjoyed this stream, please leave a like on the comments. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you for being here. Please subscribe so that you don't miss the next GitHub for Startups. We're going to have a super exciting project next August 28th. We're going to be talking to Ron, the co-founder of Flux. And listen, if you're someone who wants to get to work quickly and enjoys developer tools, you don't want to miss that. So I'll be putting out information on that soon. Don't forget to take a breath today. I hope you enjoyed this, and we'll see you on the next GitHub for Startup. Thank you for being here. And hey, if you did end up using it, please let me know. I always say, send me a message and I'll send you something. And I promise you, I do. It's not an empty promise. So do let me know if you actually ended up giving EasyGen.io a go. And do let me know, please, what other startups you'd like to see here. We have an incredible amount of partners and startups that are using our service. So don't forget, if you are a startup, if you're thinking about building something, look at GitHub. This is the place to do it. Thank you all so much. We'll see you August 28th. Don't miss the upcoming streams. Go ahead and subscribe. I appreciate you all being here. Take care.